Bojo, welcome to Wahsa Distance Education Center's radio Zoom classes. This is MEL3E, grade 11 workplace math, and I'm the teacher, Bronwyn Slate. If you'd like to participate live today, you can call the Wahsa studio at 1-800-465-7144 or 737-4017. You can listen on the radio at 91.9 FM and also on the television at Bell Express View Channel 972. You are always welcome to join me live through the Zoom link, which is available from your teacher and also your DEC. Our classes are scheduled Monday through Thursday from 9 till 10 in the morning, and we are in our second week of our 9-week course. A reminder of what work to submit once you are ready to submit work. The support questions, the ones with a pencil icon, are not for marking. You decide which ones and how many of them to do. If you understand a concept, feel free to skip questions. You know yourself best in terms of what you need. However, you do need more practice. That is completely understandable. So let me know and I can send you some more practice. The key questions, however, the ones with the little key icon, are the ones to submit for marking. So please do all of these questions. I'm grading all of them, whether or not you do them. So don't make yourself get a 0 just because you didn't try. Definitely try all the questions. Show all of your work, your steps, and your thinking. This way, I can give you credit for all of your understanding. And if you are struggling with something, it gets me information about how I can help you and help clarify or help your misunderstanding. So the more information you give me, the better, more marks I can give you and the more information I get so I can help you. All right, so then how do you submit your work for marking? There's 3 different methods. The first is to scan your work and send it electronically. So you can scan using a device. If you have an Apple device, it comes with a Notes app, and that has a scan function, as well as the Android devices have a Google Drive app, and that has a scan function. Both scan functions are fairly straightforward. Mostly you point and click. The reason that scanning them is preferred is because it makes your files a little bit smaller and all one file, so that makes it a little bit easier for me to access them. If you need to take pictures, that's totally fine. I can deal with pictures. Just an option if you do have a device that you can scan with. Then you can send it to me through either email to studentwork@nnec.on.ca and CC it to me, bronwyn.slate@nnec.on.ca. Or you can also send it to me through Facebook Messenger, where my name is B. Slate Wahsa. The second method is to drop your work off in Sioux Lookout. We have an outdoor mailbox at our location at 74 Front Street. We are the bright red building next to the post office, and we have a small white mailbox next to our side door. We are not yet open to the public, hopefully soon, but for now, just put your work in that mailbox and I'll get it back to you as soon as I can. The third method is to hand your work into your DEC. Your DEC can either send your work through the Express or fax it to 807-737-1732 or toll-free fax to 1-800-463-7852. Students are also welcome to fax their work. If you have access to a fax machine, go for it. If you'd like to connect with me through social media, both my Facebook page and YouTube channel are under the name B. Slate Wahsa. So you can friend me on Facebook and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then you'll get notifications every time I upload one of our lessons. I record all of our radio Zoom classes and upload them shortly after airing. But I also have short videos explaining common errors or confusing concepts on my YouTube channel. So it's a good place to go if you're struggling with something and you just need a little bit of clarification. It is a good place to start. You might need more and you might want to reach out and connect with me. But if you are doing work and I'm not available, then it can be a good place to see if there's just something that might be helpful for you. Math is a really visual subject, so I strongly encourage you to access the videos, the visuals in some way, either joining me live through Zoom, which you can just watch. You don't have to actually talk to me or show your video or anything like that. You can just sort of be a fly on the wall watching the video, and that's fine. Or watching the YouTube replays. If you don't have access to reliable internet, let me know, and then I can send you a copy of the recordings that you can access on a device without using the internet. Just let me know, because having the visual, watching it opposed to just listening, is really going to give you the full experience and truly understand much more thoroughly than just listening to me talk. All right, so you have any questions or concerns, please reach out, connect with me. My email address is bronwyn.slate, and that's spelled BRONWYN.SLATE@nnec.on.ca. You can connect with me through Facebook, where my name is B Slate Wahsa. Many of my students connect with me through Messenger, Facebook Messenger, and that's how they hand in the work, how I hand their work back to them, how they ask questions. A lot of my communication happens through Facebook Messenger, so you're welcome to connect with me there. Also, you can call me at the office at 807-737-1488, extension 2209, or toll free at 1-800-667-3703. My office hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., though I teach from 9 till 11 in the morning, so it's not a great time to get a hold of me. If that time doesn't work for you and you would like to connect, just reach out to me and we can try to arrange something that works for both of us. All right, we are on to lesson number 5. This is the last lesson in Unit 1. And then we are a quarter of the way through our course already. It happens really quickly. But today's lesson is talking about making purchases. So our learning goals for today is that at the end of the lesson, you'll be able to explain how to make change in the most efficient methods. You will be able to explain how to discount, sales prices, and after-tax costs work. And you'll understand provincial sales tax, including how and why it's different depending on the location. The success criteria, so that you know that you've met your learning goals. You can determine change received in making a variety of purchases. You can calculate discounts, sales prices, and after-tax costs for various items, and you can calculate provincial sales tax. All right, so when will you use this in real life? Well, it's money, so we use money all the time, but we're learning how to make decisions and how to justify them. It's important to not just be confident in the decisions that you're making, but also be able to explain why that is a decision you're making. This is really important in life in general, but particularly with money, it's really good to be comfortable with your money and how you're making the decisions that you're making, and be able to explain that to the folks around you in order to justify them. All right, but first let's activate your brain with some mental math. We know I'm not a fan of the mad math minutes that just cause stress and anxiety in most folks. Either you know your facts or you don't know your facts with this strategy, and it really doesn't teach anybody much. So we develop strategies that are actually transferable to various situations and make it so that you are comfortable with numbers and you can have tools that you can use depending on what the situation is. So today's question is 59 divided by 3, and it is a partial quotient strategy. We're going to use the strategy of partial quotients, which you don't have to know what it's called, but it's just sometimes can be useful. So this looks going to look like long division, and this you can do in your head, or you can also write it out. So I am not attached to you doing it one way or the other. Sometimes writing it out helps you get more comfortable with it, and then you're able to do it in your head. I don't like doing division in my head. It stresses me out, so I write it down. So I'm going to write it out like a long division question, but instead of, the only difference is that my division symbol, so the little like box that the 59 is inside of, I'm going to have a long tail all the way down the right side. So it looks kind of like a big 7. So I'm going to do 3 into 59, and I'm trying to figure out how many times this happens. So it looks kind of like long division, but we're going to do it logically opposed to just following steps. So we're going to look at our numbers as a whole. We're going to think about how many groups of 3, not just how many groups of 3, what's a friendly group of 3? Who cares if it's the biggest group of 3 or not, but what's the friendly group of 3 that fits inside of 59, that is less than 59? So I could break up 59, part of 59, into these friendly groups. Well, I know that 10 groups of 3 is 30, and that's less than 59. So I can say already, I know that 10 groups are going to fit. I can make 10 groups of 3, and that's going to be less than 59. I could share that out. So then I'm going to say, okay, well, I've dealt with 30 already because I had 10 groups of 3. That's 30 things. I've already dealt with that, so I don't have to deal with those anymore. So now I'm going to have 29 left because 59 take away 30. The 30 that I already dealt with leaves me with 29. So now I can look and I can say, well, I can see that I don't have 10 more groups because I don't have 30 anymore, but I have almost 30. So I could look and I can say, well, that means that I don't have 10 groups, but I probably have 9 groups because I have 29 instead of 30, and that's 1 less. So that means that I'm going to have 9 groups. And so then, okay, so 9 groups of 3 things, and each group is going to be 27. So knowing my multiplication facts does help me. You don't have to do 9 groups. You could have done 2 groups. You could have done 5 groups. There's lots of different options. You don't have to do, you do the numbers that are comfortable for you. So now I know that I've dealt with 27 things because 9 groups of 3 is 27. And that leaves me with 2 is all I've got left. Well, can I get any more groups of 3? Nope, I can't. So I have 2 left over. So what does that mean? How many groups of 3 go into 59? Well, I have 10 groups and I have 9 groups. So that means that 19 groups. So 19. So 59 divided by 3 is equal to 19 with a remainder of 2 because I had 2 left over. And I could do that as a decimal or a fraction, or you could just do remainder 3 depending on what you're doing, but we'll just leave it as remainder 2 for right now. And that's how you can do partial quotients, is another way of doing division, which is potentially a little bit more accessible than long division because it actually hopefully makes sense. Okay, mine's on. What tools do we need to have for today? So first we're going to talk about estimating. So most of us don't use exact calculations when deciding if we want to purchase an item or if we feel like it's too expensive. When we are in a store or we're looking at something to buy, most of us do not write down exact numbers or use a calculator to calculate everything exactly, accurately, precisely. We estimate. So estimations are rough approximations of what we expect the price to be. So we're making sort of close guesses to give us information opposed to doing the exact calculation. So for example, if something is $4.99 in a store, we're probably gonna say, well, that's $5 because $4.99 is only 1 cent away from $5. So if we have $5, we can pay for something that's $4.99. Same with $68.74. Again, here, I mean, you could say, well, that's $69, or else you might just be like, well, that's $70. $70 is an easy, friendly number for me to just know, to ballpark it, to estimate. $10.32. This one we might round down. We might say, well, that's pretty close to $10. So that gives you, again, rough idea. Not perfect, but rough idea. $93.89. This one, you also might say, well, that's $93. Or you might say, oh, that's $94. It's okay. It's fine because we're doing an estimation. It's okay if we don't estimate to the same thing. Somebody else might say, that's $100. Okay, that's fine. Just to sort of ballpark it, that's $100. So that's what we mean by estimation, is that we're roughly looking at our numbers and making them friendlier numbers that it is that we can add them together. Like, for example, if we wanted to add these 4 amounts up, that's going to take us a bit of work to really think about adding them, all the parts up. Whereas if I look at these estimations and I say, okay, well, 93 plus 10, well, that's going to be 103, plus 70 is going to be 173, plus 5 is going to be 178. And that's pretty easy to say, a rough approximation. So that isn't exactly what these 4 numbers add up to, but it's kind of close. It's pretty close. It gives us a rough idea that if we had $178, we probably have enough to cover all of these things. And that's what we talk when we're talking about estimations. That's how it goes. So the other thing that we need to talk about to get ourselves going for this lesson is coin combinations. So we're going to be talking about money again. Remember, we don't have pennies when we're talking about coins. We do have pennies. We do have cents when we're talking about money. But when we are paying with coins and bills, when actual cash, we don't have pennies. But we need to think about different combinations of coins and bills can make different amounts of money. So if you have 65 cents, even when we did have pennies, very rarely would you use 65 pennies to pay for something that was 65 cents. You're going to use combinations of coins, different combinations of coins that are more convenient. So for example, so here we're looking at what are some common combinations that we would use to make this money. So to get 65 cents, I would think 25 cents, and I'm just writing the amount. You don't have to draw it. You can, whatever feels best for you. You can put a circle around it and then be like, oh, it's a coin. So 25 cents plus 25 cents is 50 cents. So then plus, I would say 10 cents plus 5 cents is going to give me 65 cents. Those are common coins, and that gets us 65. So a second combination, we might have, maybe we're gonna do 6 dimes, 6 10 cents. So 10 cents plus 10 cents. Sometimes you're just trying to get rid of a whole bunch of coins. So plus 10 cents plus 10 cents plus 5 cents is also 65 cents. Okay, $1.30. So here, probably I would use $1, a loonie, plus 25 cents, plus 5 cents. So $1 gives us the $1, and 25 plus 5 cents gives us the 30 cents. Another combination that you might do is maybe you do even you could do still $1. You could do 4 quarters. You could do lots of things, but $1, and then you maybe are going to do 3 dimes. And that would be $1.10 or 30 cents. Then C, $7.40. So probably I would do like a $5 bill plus a $2 coin, toonie. That's $7 plus 25 cents plus 10 cents plus 5 cents. That gives us $7.40. Or maybe you're going to do 3 toonies. That's $6 plus a loonie. That's $7 plus 4 dimes. Again, there's not one way that is right. If you did these differently, that was fine too. It's okay. These are just some of the combinations that would make for work for these monies. So thinking about this is just important as we're moving forward, is that sometimes we need to have different amounts of money. Sorry that those are so messy. I'm continuing need to practice more on this way to write. Okay, so what is new? What are we actually going to be learning about today? So first, we're going to be learning about making change. So more about those coins. This is on page 43 of your IL booklet. So if you work in a store the cash register will calculate how much change you should give customers. So we'll say you owe, customer gave you $50 and you owe the customer $19.37. So that tells you how much money you're supposed to give them back. However, it does not tell you doesn't tell you which bills and coins to use in order to how to give them back that money. Generally, we like to give the least possible number of coins and bills instead of counting up and using, so I said $19. So you don't want to use 19 loonies. You want to make your life as easy and do the least number as possible. So that's one reason why this is a useful tool to think about making change. But also there's times when a customer may give more money than's required to reduce the number of coins they will receive as change. So if your bill is, say, $16, then maybe somebody, instead of giving you $20, gives you $21. And that means that they want to get a $5 back. So they get $5 back instead of just getting $4 back. And so you get a $5 bill back opposed to 2 toonies or something like that. So all this is important to be thinking about when you're using money. So counting up is a common strategy when you're making change. And this is when you say, okay, I need to go from $16 to $21. So I'm going to count up. I'm going to say 16, and I just have dollars. So it's pretty straightforward. So I say 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. That's $5. So I need to give $5 back. But if it's a little bit more of a complicated one where you don't just have dollars, then you start with the lowest amount. So we don't have pennies, so we don't worry about pennies. But you use nickels first to count up to the nearest 5 cents or 10 cents, depending on what makes sense. Then you use dimes and nickels to count up to the nearest 25 cents, 50 cents, 75 cents, or dollar. Then you use quarters to count up to the next dollar, and then you use dollars or bills if needed. We're going to look at what that actually means. So here's an example. What is the change? So we have an item, a pair of jeans, the cost including tax. So the cash register says you owe $32.41. The bills in your pocket. So this is an old picture. I thought I deleted those pennies, but I didn't. So you have a bunch of bills and coins in your pocket. What are you going to give to the clerk and how much change will you get? So first, because we're playing with cash, we need to think, okay, this is $32.41 is what the register says, but that just means if we're paying with cash, we need to do $32.40 is how much we actually need to pay, right? Because we don't worry about pennies. So if we are going to give cash, we have 2 $20 bills, a toonie, 2 loonies, 3 quarters, a dime, and 2 nickels. So what are we going to give to the clerk? So we could just give them to the 2 20s, and why don't we just do that? So sometimes I'm feeling rushed and stressed as a cash, so I could make it more exact, but I can't. I'm feeling stressed. I know that 2 20s is $40. It's going to be more than $32, and then we're good to go. So we're going to give $20 times 2, which is equal to $40. So that is more than $32.40 that we need to get back. So that how much change will we get back? So if we use this counting up strategy, so we start at $32.40. That's how much our purchase price was. So then our change is going to be, so I'm going to say, okay, so from 40 cents, I'm going to add 10 cents. So 1 dime I'm going to need to give. And now I'm at 50 cents. Now I'm at $32.50. So then I'm going to add 2 quarters. So 2 quarters goes from 40 cents to sorry, from 50 cents to $1. So I thought like this first part got me to 50 cents. And now this second part got me to $1. So now I've counted, I'm up to $33. So then to get from $33 to $40, that's my goal, is to go from $32.40 to $40. So I'm at $33 and I need to go up to 40. So I'm going to say 30. So I'm going to say I'm going to get a toonie. And now I've got up to $5. So then I can just do $5 and that gets me all the way up to the $40, which is what we really need to get to. So that means that my change, I'm going to erase all of these to get a little less confusing. So the change is all of this part in green. So I have $7 and 2 quarters and a dime. So 2 quarters is 50 cents and a dime is another 6, so up to 60 cents. So my change is $7.60 to go from $32.40 up to $40. And I know that I need to give back a $5 bill, a toonie, 2 quarters, and a dime. And that's the change that I need to give back to this person. So that's one way to think about making change, is that counting up method. So then here's another example. A PS3 game is $64.73. So again, we're paying with cash. So when it's a 3, we round up to 5. So it's $64.75 is what we need to pay with in cash. So here, I could do 2 options. So I have 64. I have 3 20s, a 10, and a 5. So I'm going to have to do the 3 20s because that's what I get to 60. Then I want $4.75. Well, I have 10, a 5, 2 toonies, a loonie, and 2 quarters. So I can't make 75 cents because I only have 2 quarters. So that means that I'm going to have to do at least $5. So I could just do the $5 bill, or I could say, well, I have 2 toonies and a loonie, and that's $5. And so if I give 2 toonies and a loonie, then that's going to be $65. And I have less coins in my pocket. So that if I did $65, how much change will we get? So again, counting up, we want to go from $64.75 up to $65. Well, that's not too much of a jump if I just need 25 cents to go up, and then I'm at $65. So all I need is 1 quarter is the change, the only change that I'm getting back. And that's how you make change. All right, so a second example. Some employees make hundreds of cash transactions every shift. Sometimes errors are made. So you also paying attention to where mistakes happen as a customer is really important in case you are not getting enough money back or you're getting too much money back. We're just going to do one of these. It's the same idea. So let's look at number 3. So the amount owed by the customer is $6.50. So you have to pay, you're buying something and it's $6.50. This person gives $10 and then the change given to the customer is $10, a $10 bill, a toonie, a loonie, and 2 quarters. So one, you can be like, hey, I gave them $10 and they gave me $10 back. Sweet. But that's not the most ethical thing. So you got too much change, right? You shouldn't have gotten that $10 back. And that means that cashier is going to be in big trouble later. So the correct change we want to go from $6.50 up to $10, right? So how we should do it is we're going to, so we have $6.50, we're going to count up. So we have to go up from 50 cents. So we're going to do 25 plus 25. So that gives up to 7. And then to go from 7 to 10, we need a toonie, $2, and a loonie, $3. So in total, we need $3.50 is really what we needed back. So we needed the toonie, the loonie, and the 2 quarters. That was all right, but we didn't need the $10. That part we didn't need to get back. They did the right change in terms of the coins, but they just gave us back the $10 by accident. So paying attention to that is really important, because also sometimes they don't give you enough change back. And so you want to be able to explain why they didn't give you enough change back. All right, so now you should be able to do the support questions on page 43 to 44, questions 1 through 3. Getting back fewer coins, this is on page 44. So we've already talked about this a little bit. It's sort of this the natural way to do it. So in paying with cash, we want to pay with as many coins from our pocket and to receive the least number of coins in return. So we've talked about this. If you have a bill, if you need to pay $11.29 becomes $11.30. If you pay with $11.30, you don't get any change. $11.35 or $11.50, you get some small change. $12.30, $15.30, $20.30 would you get a full dollar about, because you've got that 30 cents, you've covered the 30 cents. $12.35, $12.50, $15.50, $35, $15.50, $20.35, or $20.50 would result in full dollars and small coin change. So it depends on what you have in your pocket, what coins and bills you have, is going to make the most sense to get the fewest coins back. So for example, we're going to do one of these. We're going to have, so we have an NHL replica jersey for $61.45. So we have 3 20s, a 10, a 5, 2 toonies, 2 loonies, and 2 quarters. So we need, how much are we going to have to give to the clerk? We want to give the most and get the least back. So we have to do the 3 20s again, because it's over $60. Then we want $1.45. So we're going to do the loonie, because that's $1. So 1 loonie. So that's $61. And then we're going to do the 2 quarters, 2.25 cents, because that's 50 cents. So that total that we are giving is $61.50. So how much change will you get back? Well, we only need 5 cents back in change. So we're only going to get 1 coin back. So we gave 3 bills and 3 coins, and we only got 1 coin back, which means we have less coins in our pocket or in our wallet, which is what we wanted. So that's the same idea. So I've consistently been doing the, getting it so that we have less coins coming back. That's just sort of how we do it, because it just makes the most sense. All right, so now you can do question 4 on page 44. All right, so now we want to talk about, that was making change. We want to talk about sales tax in provinces and territories. So this is on page 45 of your IO booklet. And sales tax is used in Canada. There are 2 types of sales tax levied. There's a provincial sales tax, which is PST, and this is defined by the provinces. There's the goods and services tax, which is GST, and it applies nationally. So it's federal, it's a Canada-wide. And then there's a harmonized sales tax, which is the HST, which combines PST and GST in some locations. Every province except Alberta has implemented either a provincial sales tax or the harmonized sales tax. The territories of Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut have no territorial sales tax, so only the GST is collected. They only have GST on purchases in the territories. These three northern jurisdictions are heavily subsidized by the federal government, and their residents receive some additional tax concessions due to the high cost of living in the north. So we know already, even in Northern Ontario, like the high cost of living for food, for fuel, lots of things are like really, really ridiculously expensive because it's hard to get those goods to those places. So it is even more so in the even further north territories. And so that's why they don't have more taxes in order to support those communities. So the sales tax in the 10 provinces and 3 territories are in British Columbia, the PST is 7%. In Alberta, there's no PST. In Saskatchewan, also 7%. Manitoba, also 7%. In Ontario, we have HST, so we have 13%, but we have HST, so we don't have PST and GST. We just have HST. In Quebec, PST is 7.5%. In Newfoundland and Labrador, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick, they all have HST, and it's all 15%. In Prince Edward Island, PST is 10%, and in the Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut, there's no PST, so they just have GST. Okay, so what does that mean? If we bought a digital camera for $89.97, what would the PST in BC, Nunavut, and PEI be? So depending on where we buy it, we're going to pay different taxes on it. So let's remember, for BC, the PST is 7%. In Nunavut, it is 0%. And in PEI, it is 10%. Again, you can look these up. I just happen to remember them, but you can look them up. So that means that in BC, the price of the camera, what you're going to end up paying with the PST, what the PST is going to be. So you do $89.97 times 7%. So that's $89.97 times 0.07. So using our calculator, we do 89.97 times 0.07 is equal to $6.29.7. So $6.30. We're going to round that up, right? Round it up to 2 digits. So $6.30 is the PST in BC. In Nunavut, PST is, so 89.97 times 0%. So that's going to be 0. PST in Nunavut is $0. And then in PEI, $89.97 times 10%, which is equal to $89.97 times 0.10. And so that one I can do in my head easily is $8.99. So we're going to round that up to $9. So we can see that depending on where you buy the digital camera, the cost of the camera is the same, but the taxes are different depending on where you are. And so it's going to be more expensive. It's going to feel more expensive depending on where you are. Okay, so now you can do the questions on page 46 to 47. Questions 5 to 6 are about sales tax. Provincial tax. So now we're going to look at goods and services taxes. This is on page 47. This is the GST. So again, the federal GST rate has been 5% since January 1st, 2008. Everywhere in Canada, GST is applied to purchases. Doesn't matter where you are, it's 5% everywhere. The only thing is that some places we don't pay, some goods and services we don't pay GST or HST on. So things that are essential, we don't pay GST, we don't pay extra taxes on them. So basic groceries such as milk, bread, and vegetables, we don't pay tax on. That's not saying that all food we don't pay taxes on. If you're getting food that is highly processed or not seem to be thought to be essential food, then you will pay taxes on it. Prescription drugs and drug dispensing fees do not have any tax on them. Medical devices such as hearing aids and artificial teeth, no tax. Most healthcare, medical, and dental services, no taxed. Residential rent, legal aid services, most banking services, most childcare and education services, again, there's no tax on those things. They are essential services. So if we are, so example 5, we're in Saskatchewan and we're buying a pair of rollerblades for $152.45, including tax. What do you actually pay? So when we're saying including tax, this, now that we're learning about it, is that both GST and PST. So we need to remember what they both are. So I don't remember right now what it is. I'm going to quickly go back. Saskatchewan, the PST is 7%. So again, you need to look it up. That's fine. So GST is always 5% if it is a place that has GST. The only places that don't have GST are the ones that have HST because it's all combined. I'll talk about more of that in a minute. And then PST is 7%. So if you're buying these rollerblades in Saskatchewan, you're going to do your GST, which is $152.45 cost times 5%, which is $7.62. And then PST is the same, $152.45 times 7%, which is, now there are 2 ways that you can do this. You can do this separately, like I'm doing right now, where we did the PST and then, so we did the GST and then the PST. So the PST is $10.67. So then the total is going to be $152.45, the price, plus GST, $7.62, plus PST, $10.67. So then adding all of those together gives us the total price. So $170.74 is how much the rollerblades would cost with taxes. You could also, that's method 1. The same question you could do, instead of doing the PST and the GST separately, you could say, okay, well, GST plus PST is equal to 5% plus 7%, which is equal to 12%. So then you could just do 152.45 times 12%, which is equal to 152.45 times 12%, which is 18.29. So then the total would be 152.45 plus 18.29, which is equal to 152.45 plus 18.29, which equals to 170.74. So you get the same price, but 2 different ways you could do it. Both, so you get the same answer, If you want to do it separately, you can, or if you want to do it together, you can do it that way too. All right, so now you can do the support questions on page 48, question number 7. This is a jam-packed lesson. And now we're going to look at harmonized sales tax. So this is the on page 49 of your IL booklet. So the harmonized sales tax is also called the HST, and it is a combination of federal and provincial taxes on goods and services in the 5 Canadian provinces. So not all provinces have harmonized sales tax, only 5 ones do. So it's 15% in all of the provinces except Ontario, where it's 13%, just to make things a little bit more confusing. The concept behind the HST was to streamline the recording and collection of federal and provincial taxes by combining them into a single uniform levy across Canada. Some exemptions are similar to the goods and services to GST. Those things, the ones like essential food, medical services, those are exempt from HST as well. So for all taxes, not just the harmonized sales tax, but for all taxes, you can calculate the tax like we've done, and then add it to the original price, or we can do something else. So this is not just true for the harmonized sales tax, this is true for all taxes. So for example, this is how we've been doing it, is that we've been calculating the tax on the original price. So a book is $19.80. So if we're calculating to find the tax or to find the how much we have to pay, we're going to do $19.80 times 13%. So, and I'm just skipping writing it as a decimal for the sake of time, but you can write it in decimal, or you can just write it as a percentage. Both are the same. If you're going to put it into your calculator as a percentage, remember you need to press the percentage button. Desmos doesn't like that the way that I was doing it, so I'm just going to put it in as a decimal. So that's $2.57. $2.57. So then the total, so that was the tax. So then the total is going to be $19.80 plus $2.57. So adding those together, $19.80 plus $2.57 is equal to $22.37. So that is one way of getting the total amount. The second way, which again, this works not just for harmonized sales tax, but for all the taxes that we've been doing, is to calculate it 113% all at once. So this 100 and the 100% takes into account the price, the sales price. So you do not have to do it this way. If you are more comfortable doing it this way, where we do it in 2 steps, totally fine. If you are more comfortable doing it all in 1 step, totally fine. You're going to get the same answer as long as the math calculations work out. But how it works is that you just can do it in 1 step. So the total, you do $19.80 times 113%. Now this time I am going to write it out as a decimal just so that you can see what it looks like. So 113% turning into a decimal. So remember, we do that 113%. We divide it by 100%. And 113 divided by 100 is going to be 1.13. So we're going to multiply it by 1.13. So then using our calculator, we do 1980 times 1.13, and that gives us $22.37, which you can see is the same. So both either doing it in 2 steps or in 1 step, you'll get the same result. You do whatever is more comfortable for you. Okay, so another example, calculate the HST and the total cost of an iPhone 13 with a price of $1,000 So this, we need to do 2 steps because they ask for the HST and then they ask for the total cost. So you need to make sure that you are doing what the question asks. We need to figure out what the HST is and then what the total cost is. So also, even if the question doesn't say it, assume that we're doing the HST in Ontario because we're in Ontario. So that's what makes most sense. So that, because that's 13%, whereas if we did it in Newfoundland, it would be 15%. So HST for this iPhone is $1,099 times 0.13, which is $142.87. So then the total is going to be $1,099 plus $142.87. So we just add those two together and we get $1,241.87. Sorry, my brain, $241. There we go. I was like, that's not right. What I was writing. And 81 cents, so 87 cents. And that is the total. And that's how you calculate HST. So you can do the support questions on page 50, questions 8 and 9. So we run out of time today, so we will continue with the rest of lesson 5 on in a future class. So I'm just going to skip over these ones for right now. And we're going to consolidate what we have learned today, and then we'll come back and finish lesson 5 in a future lesson. So we've been talking about making purchases. So we talked about making change with counting up as a good option and using the fewest coins possible, using the most coins to pay, but receiving the least coins in return. We did not get to talk about discounts. And then we talked about sales tax. We talked about provincial sales tax, goods and services sales tax, and the harmonized sales tax. So we have not covered that discounts, but we've covered that you can determine and change received in making a variety of purchases, and you can calculate sales tax. Hopefully that is comfortable, and we will come back to discounts and do a quick review of the sales tax probably in a future lesson. Okay, so if you have any questions, please reach out. Again, sorry that we didn't get through this whole lesson number 5. There is a lot that's covered in it, and I was optimistic to squeeze it all in. But we will cover that, and you'll have access to all of that information soon. If you want to give me a call at 807-737-1488, extension 2209, or toll free 1-800-667-3703. Also, if you have questions, you can email me at bronwyn.slate, and that's spelled BRONWYN.SLATE@nnec.on.ca. Connect with me through Facebook at Slate Wahsa, and watch all of our replays at Slate Wahsa, my YouTube channel, under the playlist MEL3E. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a lovely day, and Miigwech.